topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good morning, Texas. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show, where we bring you the top experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. I got to tell you, our next expert, I knew the first day we spoke that this was going to be a great show. And it's funny because I was born in St. Louis, and this show, the office originates out of St. Genevieve, Missouri. And so St. Louis is like an important city to me. And then he called me up one day and said, we're opening up another office in San Antonio. And I love San Antonio. If you've ever been to San Antonio, you would understand why. But the most important thing is, Lance, I think he works 23 and a half hours a day. And he does it because he loves helping people. And when it comes to the IRS, I got to tell you, he knows that feeling with all the new clients that he gets, that when the IRS is after you, it's no fun feeling. Let me welcome you to attorney Lance Drury. Good morning, attorney.
Good morning, Steve. How you doing this morning?
See, listen to that voice. This early in the morning, and it's been like he's been up all night.
Well, I got up about 4:30 this morning, so it's been about 3 hours already. But I got to tell you, I don't work 23 and a half hours a day. I work enough. And I'm normally here every Saturday and Sunday morning, but I don't work like I used to because I'm going to be 72 September 10th. So I don't work like I used to anyway. But I got some more good news.
I love it.
My attorneys from Los Angeles will be in my San Antonio office in September. And then we're going to open an office also in Houston, Texas.
Oh, nice. Wonderful. Ray, I got to tell you, we get so many texts, just people saying, well, I got to tell you, this is a compliment if you understand our business. Like, why isn't the show longer? When they're saying that, that means they love the show. But we got a letter, and I told you before the show, I got to read this. It's not very long, but it's such an amazing letter. It says, I hope you're able to read my email. I have really enjoyed your show with Attorney Drury. I turned a friend on to him 7 months ago from your show, and my friend Joe is out of such a jam with the IRS, and he complimented Attorney Drury staff so much. He told me how honest and caring the firm was regarding his problem with the IRS. I hope anyone who has to go up against the dreaded IRS will contact Attorney Drury. I want to thank Steve-O for providing so many educational shows for your great experts. I know this had to be a cousin of yours, Lance.
I don't even know who you're talking about. But I got to tell you, we are heart-centered. We have a lot of integrity. You know, I'm the liberation architect. A lot of tax attorneys talk numbers. I talk giving people their financial freedom back, saving them from the clutches of the IRS. The analogy I always use, and I probably used it on this show before, Steve, is that I'm the guy saving Fay Ray from the clutches of King Kong. So that's what we do here.
That's a good analogy.
I have more better practitioners than I have ever had. We have 8 attorneys other than myself on board. We're just keep growing the office. We have over 1,000 clients at any one time, and I hope I'm still doing this 10 years from now.
Well, your voice shows you sure have the energy for it. Let me get to the questions. We've got so many of them here. The first one, is it possible to have the IRS to hold off on collections?
Well, it is in this sense. You can do a couple things. One is that you can call them up and tell them you need 6 months to pay the full amount back. And then you can work out a settlement for less than the full amount within that 6-month period. That gives you room to breathe. Obviously, if they come after you with a final notice of intent to levy, you can file either a collection due process hearing, and you want to file that. You have to file that if you have a revenue officer. But the other thing is, if you want to wait beyond that 30 days, you can file what's called an equivalency hearing request. I just did this with a case. The guy owed $90,000, and I don't do too many cases anymore. The $90,000 runs out next month. But the reason we filed the equivalency hearing is the clock on collections does not stop. It stops if you file election due process hearing request, which means the IRS then has longer to collect against you. So we did the equivalency hearing request, and the IRS is so screwed up right now. I think we had 3 different settlement officers. I don't know what's going on in appeals at the IRS, but my attorneys tell me about this all the time, is they'll start with one, and then it'll be assigned to somebody else, and then maybe even a third person. So if you do the equivalency hearing, guess what? The clock on collections is running that full time. So we had the equivalency hearing back in June. And so there's no way at this point, they may have less than 30 days at this point to collect $90,000, and that it's impossible for them to do that in that amount of time.
Ray, one of the things I've learned from you, and you talked just now about how to kind of do it yourself. I have learned from you, Ray, you do not want to talk to the IRS yourself, because you can give out information that can hurt you in the long run. Plus, you've never dealt with the IRS. They are really, I got to tell them, they're really good at collections, but that's why it's so important that you let a company like Attorney Lance Drury's office handle this for you. Am I correct on that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, talking to the IRS if you owe taxes to them is like talking to the cops if you're charged with a crime. It's not a good idea. You're just going to hurt yourself. I've seen so many people audited because of what they told the IRS. And the other thing is, everybody thinks it's easy. Oh, I can do this on my own. There's nothing to it. I'll just call them up and get my own agreement. When I was a regular small town lawyer, I spent 15 hours a year for continuing legal education. Now, myself and every lawyer in my office spends 50 to 100 hours or more every year just keeping up on this stuff, because things are constantly changing. We know the ins and outs. We know how to navigate the IRS maze. They're so compartmentalized. You can only get one thing done here, then you got to go to a different department to accomplish something else. And the other thing is, we have special software. We can get through to the automated collection system in other departments in 3 minutes. I've had people come to me and say, I got to hire you because every time I call them up, it's 2 hours. And sometimes after the 2 hours, I get disconnected. And so they're understaffed. I've never seen them make more mistakes than they're making right now because they're not properly trained. And if you're a layperson and you call them up and somebody tells you something That's not right. You're not going to know that, but we know that. And, you know, what we do is I just tell them, well, I got to go. I got somebody waiting for me. And then I call back until I can talk to somebody that knows what they're talking about. But the average person is not going to know that. And they take advantage of lay people. And so you need the services of an attorney. I tell everybody there's 3 rules if you don't hire my firm. Hire an attorney that does this every single day. Accountants are great with the numbers, but I've seen accountants put tens of thousands of dollars of liability on the books for their clients because, you know, the IRS only requires the last 6 years' tax returns to be filed in order for you to get a deal. Well, these accountants will tell them to file for the last 10 years. And if they're self-employed and have never made any estimated tax payments, they're going to owe tens of thousands. They'll tell them to file every single one because they don't know. They're great at what they do, but they just dabble in dealing with the IRS. Number 2, go local. And number 3, don't hire one of the big boys. There's a lot of scam artists out there. I can tell you we're a 4.7 out of 5 in St. Louis for Google reviews. We're a 4.9 out of 5 in Nashville, Tennessee.
You know, Ray, I got to tell you, Lance, I've told on your show before, we do so much due diligence. And I have seen these big national companies to make you these sometimes god awful promises. And if you look at what people write about them, is they had no problem taking my money, but after that, it would take weeks, sometimes months to get a hold of them. And I know how important customer service is to you. And a lot of these people, I'm telling you, you've got to be so careful. That's why I'm so excited that we have Attorney Lance Drury as our expert, because just like you said, you've got to be so uh, aware of some of these companies out there. And I'm telling you, just because they're a national company and have uh, I would say celebrities doing their ads for them doesn't mean squat. I'll just say that.
Yeah, and I got to tell you a story. A guy out of San Antonio. This happened last week. Last September, I talked to him, and in my San Antonio office, he had another attorney. I had heard of the attorney before, never heard anything bad about him, and he said he wasn't getting back to him and all of this. And so he had me explain to him you know, what a notice of deficiency was and what it means to go to U.S. tax court. And I told him, I said, you know, stay here. If you've got any problems down the road, then give me a call and we'll get back together. And I don't know what happened, but the auditor on the case said the attorney never got a hold of him. So last week he retained my services and we're taking care of that right now.
We just got a text from Pam. Do you know where New Brunswick is, Lance?
I've heard of it. Yeah, I think we have clients. If not, we've had perspectives. It's not too far from San Antonio.
It's right outside San Antonio. Right. That's right. Pam wants to know, first of all, do you have a Spanish-speaking representative in your San Antonio office? And she also wants to know about what your feelings are on the Fresh Start program.
My feelings about the Fresh Start program? Is that what she wants to know? Okay. Okay. To answer the first question, right now, we do not have a person who's Spanish speaking. I have looked for a Spanish speaking attorney before who would go to my San Antonio office. I had a hen hunter. We didn't have one application. However, what we may do, and this has been in discussion, is once my 2 attorneys from Los Angeles go there, we may hire a legal assistant who is fluent in Spanish so that she can sit down on the initial consults. So we already have a Spanish, the guy that runs my Nashville office, he speaks Spanish fluently, and he's local to Nashville. The other thing is My feelings about the Fresh Start program is I think it's really been hyped up. It acts like you can just call them up and say, hey, give my client a fresh start and it'll all go away. It doesn't work like that. They did make it easier to get an offer in compromise. They also raised the level on when a lien could be filed from 5,000 to 10,000. But you have to prove to the IRS that your client doesn't have the ability to pay this back. So it's all based on your ability to pay, regardless of that term of art of fresh start or not. I think I'm frozen, Steve.
Let me see. Well, we're hearing you fine.
Well, that's good.
Here's Mark in Universal City, which is right outside San Antonio. Wants to know, thank you so much for your show. I just found it. I'm really enjoying it. You have really great information. Can you explain what happens when the IRS levies your bank account, and can they also levy your property?
Yes. Let me explain about the bank account first. The levy on the bank account is only good the day that it hits. So it's limited to whatever funds are in that bank account on the day that it hits. It's any funds that are put in there the day after it hits, they're not subject to the levy. However, the bank has to hold on to that for 21 days before they can send those monies to the IRS. And so you have time then to show the IRS that your client is under a financial burden, should not be levied, and you can get the levy lifted then in whole or in part based upon your ability to pay the monies back and get set up on an agreement with the IRS, and then they'll lift the levy.
Hey,
Now,
Lance,
they
make
can
sure
also theoretically levy your property other than that. But here's what normally the IRS, they will seize homes, but you really gotta be defiant with them before they're going to take your homes, or you owe a lot of money and it's the only asset that you have to pay any of the monies back. But normally when they institute a levy, it's bank accounts, wages, and the wage levy is continuous until you get it lifted. And they can take 15% of your Social Security. But guess what? That Social Security check is normally direct debited into your bank account. And once it hits your bank account, they can take it all. So, when they say it's limited to 15% of your Social Security, well, that's true before they send you the check. But after the check is deposited into your account, they can take the rest of it.
Lance, your audio's coming in great. You might want to make sure your camera's not muted. I don't see you up there, but your audio is just fine. Let's continue going on. Um, can you walk us through when somebody is owed back taxes and they start getting the letters from the IRS? When is the time, first of all, to contact your office?
Right away. You don't want to wait till the last minute, because we'll have to prepare what's called either a collection due process hearing request, as I talked about earlier, or an equivalency hearing request. And you certainly don't want to wait until after you've been levied. You can, but guess what? It's going to be more expensive because it's a lot harder to get a levy lifted than to stop a levy. And so you want to make sure that you call the legal representative right away. I have to tell you, in June of this year, we had a record revenue month. And why was that? Because the IRS was either levying people left and right, or they were threatening to levy people left and right. And that's when people call, when When they start sending those nasty grams to people,
Right.
that's when the phones ring off the hook big time. And so the IRS is actively levying people now. They're back. So you want to take care of this as soon as possible. I have to tell you, procrastination is, for the most part, never a good strategy when you're dealing with the taxing authorities.
Hey, this is really a great question we just got in from Grant in Austin. I just found your show today. I think God directed me because I owe back taxes. I have not gotten a letter yet. Do you suggest I call your office now or wait till I get that first letter?
Oh, no. Call now because that gives us a lot more time. You got to understand, you didn't get here overnight. We're not going to get you out overnight. The president of the American Society of Tax Problem Solvers says you're doing your client a disservice if you work less than 9 months on their case because you're not going to get them the best possible deal. You're going to have to fill out financial statements. Uh, that's where you get the biggest bang for your buck because they're confusing, they're complicated, they're tough for the average individual to try to fill out. We may have to go through that 3, 4, 5 times. Then we need documentation to back up certain categories of expenses. So the sooner you get to us, the more time we're going to have to solve your problem before a levy hits.
This is from Nick in San Antonio. He said, I am so embarrassed about the position I'm in. I haven't paid taxes in the last 3 years. I'm so embarrassed. That's one of the reasons why I have not tried to do anything. Lance, you don't judge anybody, do
No, and
you?
don't let the government shame you into this. But like I said earlier, you got to get on this. Putting your head in the sand is not going to get your problem resolved, and then you're going to have bigger problems because they're going to come after your bank account. They're going to come after 90% of your take-home pay. And how do you pay the bills then? And so what I do is I give people their lives back. I save their income. I save their assets. I give them peace of mind. And there's no shame about your situation. You're not broken. It's the system that's broken. And we're here to help navigate you through all that, and we'll take care of you.
Well, speaking of taking care of it, Lance, if they're in the San Antonio or the Texas area, what number should they call?
726-202-1300. It's moving at the bottom of your screen there, Steve. And we'll take
Uh,
care of you.
yeah, and listen, if you have a relative or a friend, and they can be out of the Texas area or even out of the Missouri, Tennessee area, have them call it because we're talking federal income taxes. Have them call Attorney Lance Drury's office. What is your toll-free number?
The toll-free number is 888-367-6512.
And
And
I
Steve,
got to tell you,
we have clients in California. We have clients in New York. I had a guy from Yonkers, New York, called me up because somebody, and I had even forgotten the guy's name, 10 years ago hired me. He was well pleased, and we're doing all kinds of work for the guy out of Yonkers, New York.
that's amazing. Listen, Lance, I am so glad we are so blessed to have your firm. And you're going to be back with us the last Friday of this month. We're going to be doing the Missouri Tennessee show. And the great part is you can go to iHeart or Spotify and listen or watch any of these shows. Lance, thank you so much. We'll see you in about a week and a half with more Ask the Experts. Thank you, Lance.
Always great to see you, Steve. I look forward to it.
Thank you, brother. That's attorney Lance Drury. That's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Every week, or actually every day, we offer new experts in so many areas: legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Hey, we'll see you again next week with more Ask the Experts.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.